What? No.
Welcome to Writers on the Air. This morning, I am your host, Linda Schell, along with Linda R. Wright. Writers on the Air is dedicated to all writers and genres. Until COVID, we met Sunday afternoons at Common Grounds Meeting Hall next door to WKDW 97.5 FM radio in the warm Mineral Springs Shopping Plaza in Northport. WKDW Radio is the home of Real Community Radio and is on the air through the efforts of volunteers at WKDW and the sponsors for our various shows. One example is Open Mic, which airs on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock p.m. Bud Buckley invites songwriters and singers to perform. Please contact Bud if you would like to join his jam sessions that right now are COVID-19 friendly. Our radio address is 12737 Tamiami Trail, Northport, Florida, and our station phone number is 941-564-8739. And I want to make an announcement. We're going to be continue to do the virtual shows until the end of November, but we're going back December 7th physically at Common Grounds Meeting Hall next door to the radio station in Northport on December 7th. That would be Tuesday. And God willing, and if the creek doesn't rise, we're going to continue to be there every Tuesday in the evening at 6 o'clock and be there around 5:30 or before to sign up. Okay. We have a nice crew in today, but before I introduce our guest, I'm going to turn this back to our tech who wears many hats, Marie LaBrosse. Marie's got some important things to tell us.
Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Writers on the Air. And going back into the studio, how exciting this is. Before we talk about that, though, they will be preempted for their show on November 30th. Because why? It is Giving Tuesday. And here at the radio station, we are the center for Giving Tuesday here in Southwest Florida. What is Giving Tuesday? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's a global generosity movement fueled by the power of social media and collaboration, unleashing the power of people to transform their communities and the world. It's a simple idea. Whether it's making someone smile, helping a neighbor or a stranger out, showing up for an issue or people we care about, or giving some of what we have to those who need our help. Every act of generosity counts and everyone has something to give. One of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you, the audience, about Giving Tuesday is it's a global movement. It's not a fundraising event unless you're a nonprofit out there. And one of the things that our nonprofits do is peer-to-peer fundraising on social media. And at the radio station, we'll be having so many different nonprofits on. We'll be streaming like we are right now, and we'll be streaming to 8 different locations during this time. You'll get to go on tour. We will literally have people taking us on tour of their facilities, telling you the stories about why it's so important to help within your community. But remember, all you have to do is be kind. That's all we're asking anybody to do is be kind. But if you see like your neighbor, I'm looking across the street and I have an 84-year-old neighbor, you can go over and maybe even bring them a meal. Thanksgiving's right around the corner, and it's actually the Thursday before. Take the time, and maybe somebody needs help. And for Christmas this year, I have a suggestion for you. Instead of buying things and having more stuff, why don't you really find out what that person really needs? Maybe they need gas in their car. Maybe they need a utility bill paid. Maybe they need food on the table. Maybe they just need a card in the mail or a phone call. Sometimes those priceless gifts are better than any of the stuff that we give somebody, and then you don't have to go purge at the end of your life that you have all this stuff. And friends and family are the most important gift of all. So thank you so much, Linda, for giving me this opportunity. And remember, Tuesday, December 7th, this crew will be back in-house at Common Grounds in person, and we're going to try to figure out how to bring the Marys and the other people in the world in with them so they still can show up at least virtually.
Definitely. That is in the offing. I'm going to tell you a little story that's unique. I have a cousin in California who happened to be going through paperwork, and on Veterans Day, she found a poem that her mother wrote her father when he was in World War II. That would be my mother's brother. And usually I have everybody go ahead of me, but I want Carol Jean to hear this poem. So I'm going to take the liberty of reading Aunt Carolyn's poem first. It's called A Photograph of You. When the evening shadows gather after all my work is through, I can't keep my eyes from straying to the photograph of you. There it rests upon the table, just the way you looked that day. Oh, it seems it was but yesterday when I first heard you say words of love that made me happy and made all my dreams come true. But tonight I'm all alone with just the photograph of you. For one day our country called you, and you bravely answered, "Here." Oh, darling, how I miss you. Yet I brush away the tear, 'cause I miss your cheerful whistle, miss your footsteps on the stairs, miss your strong arms and your kisses that can banish all my cares. Then I wonder if you're lonely. Yes, I know you miss me too, while I sit here dreaming and gazing and that photograph of you. So I tiptoe to my window, kneel and wish upon a star, and I pray to God to keep you safe no matter where you are. Thus my heart is ever with you while I wait for your return, and the dearest of my treasures is that photograph of you. When years have told their story and the world once more is free, you'll be back with me, darling. There will be just you and me. Then we'll build our dreams together, hand in hand, the long years through. But forever in my heart, I'll hold that photograph of you. Thank you, Aunt Carolyn. Nice. Isn't it? To me, that is a million young women speaking through her voice. And I want to thank Alan Hodgson for joining us again today. Dependable Alan and Scott are with us, and Mary from Wisconsin, our one and only prosecuting attorney. And Loretta, we appreciate. Oh, Mary's embarrassed. She's taken off. Come back, Mary. Come back. And our teacher and technician, Loretta Romer, is here. Okay, Loretta, what have you got for us? The frost is on the pumpkin. Do you have anything to warm us up?
Okay, I'm going to talk about on purpose.
Okay.
I activate and help facilitate others to do the things they are created to do. I do this in a variety of ways through conversation and what I would call asking the kinds of questions that make you go, aha. I am passionate about my purpose. When I get the opportunity to motivate and stimulate people of all ages to do more, to do better, to give of themselves, to affect change. I enjoy helping others to see their possibilities, and at the same time, I'm able to see more possibilities in me. Find out what is important to you, whether it be causes, people, or issues, present or future, or even something from the past. See yourself as an agent of change. Continue to get training, wisdom, and knowledge, especially from those who offer it to you. Then let your passion fuel your purpose, so you will do the thing you were created to do. An old Chinese proverb says, one generation plants the trees, another gets the shade. Therefore, if that first generation understood their purpose, no one should have complained if all they did was plant trees. When you don't have a good sense of purpose and an eye for seeing the larger picture, you can easily be bogged down in minutiae and end up very frustrated and even aggravated. How do you discover purpose? I'm going to leave you to that in your own time. One of my favorite quotes is from Maya Angelou. A bird doesn't sing because it has an answer. It sings because it has a song. What is it that you do or that you want to do that is so much a part of you that if you don't do it, you feel you have no right to exist? What is the thing you were created to do on purpose?
Thank you very much, Loretta. You're very encouraging. You have a way of lighting a candle under people's little behinds. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go to our prosecuting attorney who could really light a candle if you don't watch what you're doing. Do you have anything about shoes today? Or are we going to talk about cats?
Actually, we're going to talk about motorcycles. I'm going to be reading an essay in 2 parts that I call Riding Pillion. And while the romance is quite a few years behind me, I still have very good memories. So,
okay.
If I had a list of what I was looking for in a man, owning a motorcycle wouldn't have been just down at the bottom. It wouldn't have made the list at all. Truth be told, it would have tipped the balance the other way. I don't like loud engines. I have no sense of balance. I get dizzy on a stepladder if I'm a foot off the ground, and I'm a control freak. But there I was at the tail end of what I call the year of turbo dating, metaphorically ready to take a step back and enter a convent for a while. And then there he was, intelligent, intriguing, good-looking, and unconventional, the proud owner of both a longbow and a Harley. And so I threw caution to the wind and said yes to a first date. The motorcycle was such a non-issue at the time. I live in Wisconsin, and when we met, it was the middle of January. I can't remember if I wore long underwear on the first date, but I certainly wore it on the second, along with shearling-lined lug-soled boots, earmuffs, and a goose-down parka trimmed with coyote fur. The wind chill was 25 below zero that night as I drove to meet him for dinner and a movie, far removed from motorcycle weather up here. Most of my dating for the past year had been catch and release after the first encounter, and the curse of the third date still lurked out there. There was no need to worry about riding on the motorcycle months later when we might be calling it quits over dessert. By the time the warm days of spring finally rolled around, I had been caught hook, line, and sinker. His enthusiasm for biking had always been palpable, but now it was edging into my future as well. I couldn't hang out on the tailgate of his pickup truck forever. I kept ducking the issue, but the day of reckoning finally arrived. I had offered to take him to dinner to celebrate a life-altering gardening project we had recently finished around my house. It was entirely his idea. The before was nothing short of a wasteland. The after saw me walking in beauty every time I stepped out the front door. My life was forever changed. And now, to get to the restaurant, he wanted to take the Harley. Still, I dressed for a different occasion, hoping that some shred of caution, thunderstorms were predicted later, would keep the bike in the garage and our transportation involving 4 wheels and a roof. I wore blue plaid capri pants and a fluttery white see-through shirt over a skinny white tank top. I had sandals and bare ankles. The man and the Harley arrived on time, the bike gleaming in the sunlight, the man grinning and triumphant with anticipation. We sat on lawn chairs in the yard for a while, and I cataloged all the drawbacks I could think of. And now, to be continued.
Thank you. It's going to be good if it's about a motorcycle. Marie, could you put up some of Mary's shoe books? She's got Where the Shoe Fits, Heck on Heels, Fabulous and Flats.
I have to go find them. I don't have them in my queue. Okay.
That's okay. Marie, I've got something better. This is in honor of Mary's shoe books. Have you ever seen anything quite like this? Isn't that great?
Oh, I have leopard print stilettos, yes.
Men love leather prints. I wore these until they started to fall apart, and I can't get rid of them because I loved them so much.
Oh, I
Had
know.
so much fun in them.
I'd break mine now.
Absolutely. You have to save those trophy shoes.
Yes, you do. Okay, I just had to share these shoes with everybody. Okay. Scott, our fellow who has the Northport Poetry Art Group, what do you have for us?
Well, before I get started, I also have an announcement to make about our group, and I didn't want to step on your announcement. I'm so happy we're going to be going back to the radio station soon. But the Northport Poetry Workshop is very excited to announce we're going to start our in-person meetings January 26th, Tuesday, 1:30 to 3 o'clock here at the Northport Art Center. We'll either do it in the gallery or we'll have our own classroom. So I'm very excited to announce that. And the first poem I was going to read, I'm going to say that for another round. I hope we have a second round, but I have to read a poem because you ladies have just kind of stepped in to a poem that I was going to read a little later. But you mentioned this now, so I'm going to read this one now, and it's a coincidence. So here we go. This is called High Heels. Her skin is crawling, and she screams for water. She can't be drowned, though she's so thirsty. Her shoes don't fit. There's a hole in her dress. Her mind is racing 1,000 miles a minute. Her ratted hair is piled high. She's puffing on another Pall Mall, and she wanders onto herself, both laughing and sobbing. From Mom's ransacked closet, she lifts another pair of shoes. Squealing children call for desperate measures, and at us flung hot red matches. She swims in her own sweat, fans flames, and spits fireballs. Her peaks and valleys are the vistas of a drought that break and bleed her. She climbs mountains that we can't see. She tumbles to the ground, cold stone sober. Her hurts are her own to understand and undertake. She loves us so well, we leave her be. We jumped on the bed to avoid a sting of a burning bedtime story. And 20 minutes into her babysitting duties, her job done as we kids were all tucked in. She runs off in high heels with a date in tow. Just must be raining on the summit of her resistance. If she were a balloon, the clouds would hang under. Her smoke rings linger with the stars. She's not so low.
Okay. Thank you. Our expert poet over here really likes that.
Who is
Thank
our
you.
expert poet?
Linda.
Oh, Linda. Thank you.
Linda Wright.
I'm going to have another connection if we have another round to what I was talking about, and I'll explain it then.
Okay, we'll be sure to give you another round. And our one and only airline pilot has joined us, Alan Hodgson. Alan, what do you have for us? Are you going to take us up in the air, or what are you going to do today?
I think we'll stay on the ground. Hi, everybody. Hello, hello, Loretta, and welcome back, Scott. I've got the yearly Thanksgiving anthem. It's a rhyme, and it's poked at family and not at Thanksgiving holiday. The fourth Thursday in November takes extra time to remember. Celebrate in shades of fall, gratitude, feasting, TV, football. The annual trek to Father's house, carrying goods baked by my spouse. Get everybody in the car, and off we go. It's not too far. Removing gloves, scarf, and shawl, we're greeted in the front door hall by loving families, eager hugs, our ladies wary of Uncle Doug's. He's 92, and life is such. He tends to wander with his touch. Here's Grandpa in the same old clothes. A threatening drip hangs from his nose, and something smells a little sour. Grandpa, you should have had a shower. Auntie May won't be outdone. With wide arms spread, comes on the run. All she wants to do in lust is crush you with that massive bust. Not happy with a simple peck, a limpet sucking on my neck. Grandma bustles through the door and saves us all from any more. You're all well, may I presume? and leads us to the dining room. Here sits pretty cousin Fay. Again, she's in the family way. Hubby Clyde, he's not too bright. We'll keep going till we get it right. Our Gladys sports peroxide hair and bids us all to take a chair. She grabs a bowl of yams to pass and coyly toots a little gas. Her eldest, Barbara, who's been napping, acted like it didn't happen, discreetly fanned the closest air, adopts an attitude austere. We settle down and take our places, surrounded by expectant faces. The longest arms are Brother Reggie's. He's reaching out to offer veggies. My father to the kitchen sent to carry in the main event, while Mother, it's £30, she boasts, the splendid golden turkey roast. Dad is careful, heaven knows, but a ruffled rug finds his toes. He trips, his face in shock contrite. Our lovely bird takes sudden flight. We pick up Dad and then the bird. We can't waste it, how absurd. Grandma says, it doesn't matter, put it on that big white platter. All gather round and soon begin to pick debris from golden skin. It seems so rudely Father's fate to choose our bird to decorate with gritty bits and carpet fluff, and if that isn't quite enough, to add to that some doggy hair and Purina bits from over there. With help from Bill and Auntie Jean, the turkey's saved and dusted clean. Come on, Father, we're all starving. So feeling better, he started carving. We fill our plates with this and that. One picky kid just feeds the cat. I've had enough and nudge my wife. Hun, let's get this hellish dinner done. No sweets for us, with guilt I say. We really have to get away. Amid their ohs and distressed sighs, we do the hugs and say goodbyes. This Thanksgiving, a family's plight, we wish they could have got it right. To me, it all seems such a ruse. I think next year we'll take a cruise.
Love it. I don't know why that isn't published in a magazine.
That is pure genius.
Can you, do you have that typed in a document?
I do.
Will you email it to me, please?
I might.
You might. I'd like, with your permission, I would like to post it on our Writers on the Air Facebook page. I think that would be nice for the holiday, and I do thank you.
All
Okay,
right.
very good. But I have to say, we are a friendly station.
That was pure genius.
That was pure genius. Okay, I want to circle back to Mary. I want to hear about that motorcycle.
Okay, well then, let me put on the glasses that I can read with, because that's how it goes
Okay.
at this age.
Okay,
All right.
gotcha.
So here I am. I'm cataloging all the drawbacks I could think of. Speed scares me to death unless I'm the one driving. I'm terrified of heights and I have no sense of balance. I like cars, specifically cars with air conditioning and CD players and cup holders for my Starbucks coffee and airbags. He listened patiently, then once again eloquently described his love of riding on his Harley. There was the freedom, the sensation of the wind on your skin and of all of nature around you, the magnificent sound, and he promised to keep to the speed limit. Then he reached into a storage compartment and thoughtfully brought out a spare helmet and his good black leather jacket. I tried them on. With the plaid capri pants and sandals, I looked ridiculous. I exited stage left and returned more suitably attired. Then I shrugged into the jacket, put on the helmet, and taking pains not to nick the gas tank with the heel of my boot as I swung my leg over, positioned myself to ride pillion. In truth, the battle had been lost before it was even joined. Both we and the bike are now a few years older, and quite a few more miles have passed beneath the tires of the Harley with me on board. I bought my own leather jacket after finally coming to grips with the fact that my chest is bigger than his. I've become accustomed to looking over at what's on the left side of the road now, as well as just looking up at the clouds and the trees and the birds above me as the wind slides over my face. The smell of damp evergreens on a winding 2-lane road feels as intoxicating to me as any glass of champagne. One summer evening, I watched a flaming sunset sky unfold behind us in the rearview mirrors as we drove east into twilight. It was magic. I used to think that sex was the final frontier in human intimacy, measured in hushed and sacred increments of trust and closeness and sharing and vulnerability. I was wrong. You can make a lot of whoopee and still hold much of yourself back. Hide those private places you don't want to share. Feel like you're somehow still in control. The much bigger leap of raw faith and reliance is getting on the back of a motorcycle, wrapping your arms around someone's waist, and with a touch, wordlessly conveying, "Here's my life. I'm trusting you to keep me safe." I'm glad I figured that out. Life has gotten in the way of riding much lately. Details like roof repairs and replacing the ring gear on the lawn tractor can take a big bite out of leisure time. And both life and relationships hold no guarantees. But that black leather jacket hangs in the closet nearest the front door, a reminder of miles spent already with my arms around his waist, circled by the familiar smell of pipe smoke and leather, and holding the promise of open road once again. In terms of take me away moments, it sure beats a bubble bath.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Thank you. Thank you. And we can relate to what you were saying in a lot of different ways. Thank you very much, Mary.
Thank you.
And Loretta, do you have something for us?
Okay. Continuing with Marie's theme, I wrote this a while back. It's called Common Courtesy. Common courtesy seems to have gone the way of common sense. It's just not common, widespread, general, ordinary, common knowledge anymore. What stops people from wanting to be kind? What is so difficult about smiling at someone or holding the door open for someone behind you, or letting someone with a few groceries go ahead of you with your full cart at the grocery store? There are so many rude people these days, and many of them are just children who apparently have never heard the word manners, much less been taught any. Maybe someone can invent an app that will prompt people to practice courtesy and good manners. I would love to see the return of common courtesy.
I would love to see the return of people using their turn signal. I'm not, hard to please.
I like that too.
Loretta, I think we cut you off. Is your whole thing done?
Yes, that was it. That was just a little short.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate. Okay, Scott, I'm handing it back to you. I don't know, my memory is going bad. Did I tell you I liked your mustache and beard?
No, but I did trim it today.
Oh, it really you look totally different.
Oh, it's just growing in because I just cannot. I don't like shaving anymore. We just get tired of these things after a while, and so I'm giving it a rest.
I understand that. Yeah.
Okay. So my next poem relates to the first poem, and this is about a woman that was so influential in my life that I had to write about her today. And I may have to stand up to show you a prompt that I have that made me write this. So I don't know if this is going to work. Do you all see what's on the page? Let me try this again. Oh, I can't do it, guys. There it is. Do you see it? Okay. So I found that yesterday, and this is the poem that I've written. I'm a little fuzzy, but I'm coming back into shape. This is called Aunt Lenny. I find it ironic that I should come across a scorpion in its zodiac month, but not really all that surprising, as I am often visited by naughty, mischievous little ghosts. The Scorpio who lay stilled in perfect repose was sent by none other than my dearly departed Aunt Lenny, for only she would present herself in such a wicked fashion. It was, I'm convinced, Lenny's way of saying, "What do I have to do, sting you? It's my 85th birthday today." It's been 20 Novembers since she last stung me. As I reached into the dirty white porcelain sink to clean it, there, lying in wait, was Aunt Lenny, a beautiful, perfectly intact, and ready to pounce, not to strike my hand, but to pierce my heart. So I announced, "Happy birthday, Aunt Lenny." So I found that yesterday, and today is her birthday. And I just thought it was her way of saying, "Don't forget me."
That was great. Happy birthday, Aunt Lenny. I'm just reminding you, I am Linda Wright, and I'll be taking over the rest of the show. And you are listening on KDWradio.com, 97.5 FM. And a reminder that we will be planning on going back physically in person to our Common Grounds Meeting Hall at 12737. I think I see address. Northport, next to Warm Mineral Springs, on December 7th, which is Tuesday night from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m. Try to get there be a little before 5:30 because we still have to line up people and do the same thing we do here. And we don't want anybody to be able to come in at the last minute, and then we have to try to squeeze you in somewhere. Okay. So I'm going to start with our station manager, RJ Malloy. Thank you, RJ, for giving us this opportunity. And this one is called, as soon as I find it, The Power. The fire raged for many years while all of the modern technology and old wives' remedies could not contain it. And men would come to blink at the light and fall on their faces, proclaiming the power of raging fire. And cities would sleep, bathed in its red light, dancing on the faces of the faithful and the lost, who twist and turn in time to yet another dancing light from within. I did not fear you then, because you were my source of light and warmth. But one day men woke, and the fire was gone. The coals lay cold and dead. Panic spread at first, minds paralyzed with fear, wandering the darkened streets as voices proclaimed our doom, until men realized the presence of darkness and came to fall on their faces and proclaim the power of night. And the faithful and the lost twisted and turned to the darkness of other worlds. I fear you now because you are gone. Someday I will light a fire.
Very nice.
Thank you, RJ. And I would like to read something from our very own Emma Fikes Alberts. She is our other co-host who, for the last few years, hosted with me in person at the Common Grounds Meeting Hall. She does her own little show on Sunday afternoons through Facebook. But since she's had a medical procedure on her mouth, she's still having a hard time, recuperating. I spent the afternoon with her yesterday, and she's starting to get in good spirits, but she's still sore. So just letting everybody know that she will not be doing her show on Sundays just for the time being. And we hope very soon she will be able to join us in person at Common Grounds Meeting Hall, where she, Linda, and I will be hosting. This is one that she wrote for Thanksgiving. The highlight of Thanksgiving for me was the Gimbels Parade. When I was young, we lived at 27th and Columbia Avenue in North Philadelphia. The parade started at 9 a.m. from Montgomery Street and marched south on Broad Street. My father started to take me in 1937 when I was 3 years old, but my most vivid memories were from the age of 5. We took the number 3 trolley car 13 blocks from the 27th Street to Broad Street and arrived at 8:30 to get a good spot at the curb. I was thrilled at the sounds and colors as the parade went by. The final float contained Santa. I watched in awe as he passed, waving, and watched till I could only see the tip of his red hat as he went on his way. Then the Second World War began, and my father went into the Navy. I was 8 years old when he left, and our family had grown. My brother Bobby was 4, and my baby sister Janet was 1. For the next 2 years, Thanksgiving was just another day. When my father returned, we continued our pilgrimage to Broad Street. My mother never went to the parade because she had to stay home and cook the turkey. As the years passed, the parade never lost its charm. We moved in 1952 from Philadelphia to a suburb called Levittown, a remote place without a parade. Many years passed, and in 1964, I married Marty Alberts and lived in Philadelphia again. We took our sons, Mark and Randy, to Market Street, where the parade ended with Santa going up the ladder into the Gimbal store. Then we took the boys to a restaurant called the H&H Automat. I think that's Horn and Hard Arts. The boys put nickels in the machines for food. Things change and times move on. In 1988, we lived in Galloway, New Jersey, outside of Atlantic City, and took our 4-year-old granddaughter, Amanda, on a train to Philadelphia to see the Thanksgiving Day parade. The parade had moved to the Philadelphia Parkway and ended at the museum. The most thrilling moment occurred when Santa arrived. That outshone all the memories I will ever have of the parade. Amanda ran out onto the street and called, "Santa, hi, it's me, Amanda. I didn't know you were here." Now I sit in Florida on Thanksgiving Day, watching the parade on television, reliving the magic moments. That was absolutely wonderful, Emma. Really, really, really nice. All right, I'm going to jump to Mary really fast. Do you have like a short one? Because I still have to get written work in.
I have one that's like 4 minutes long, so I could break it into half or read part of it.
Just do a little bit, like 2 minutes. Yes.
Okay. It's called Objects in the Rearview Mirror. The news of his death was nearly 4 years old, but it was still news to me. Earlier that day, I had appeared in court for a routine set of initial appearances on some criminal cases and had smiled to myself at how closely one of the defendants' names resembled that of a boy, a young man really, that I had been in journalism college with. It had been a good 15 years since I heard from him in the aftermath of a college reunion only one of us attended, our brief updates changing hands via email. He had become an acclaimed newspaper reporter in his field and was married. And back then he told me that he and his wife were eagerly awaiting the adoption of a daughter from China. He sent me a copy of a recent award-winning series he'd written to bring me up to date on his work. I can't remember if I returned the favor. I promised myself that I would look him up when I got home after work and send him a quick email about my morning in court for a shared laugh. But while I waited on hold as a polite, drawling young officer in Alabama searched for some information about an individual I had charged closer to home, curiosity got the better of me and my fingers quickly typed his name on Google. I hit the enter key with a quiet confidence, expecting to find the name of his most recent newspaper employer and hopefully an email address. What popped up on the screen instead was an obituary, and the news that his death nearly 4 years earlier had been investigated as a suicide. My smile of anticipation turned to the taste of ashes. 30 years passed away in an instant, and I felt both hollow and tremendously sad. That fit the slot you need?
Hi. All right, I'm going to read one. I'm going to just keep skipping around to make sure that we still have our regular people on. This is by Isolde Hunter. And I don't think we read this last week, but she would like this to be read. This is called War Alters Hearts. And she has a few books up, and she was a singer, back in her day, and she toured with Harry Belafonte and the such. War's carnage, carved in the minds of men, prevents night's peace, day's productivity. For all of those neglected and unhealed, it festers into an insanity. In each, the wounds of memory are raw, friends' bodies piled beneath the ones of foes. Impersonal, death welcomes all to join. Its bloodied, rotting corpses stacked in rows. Those warriors who return are scarred and sick. Do not think there are any left unscathed. Our undisturbed reality knows not which horrors seen by them, ideals betrayed, We must receive our heroes with our hearts. With grace, embrace each tired, broken soul. Though they've been spared, we know now they must repair their shattered lives from combats told. And this was from her book, Burnished Ballads, Wrinkled Rhymes on Aging. Thank you so much, Izzy. Okay, let me see. Who do we have? All right, Loretta, do you have something short?
Yes, a short poem. People who need people. For some people, things are very clear right when and where they are. For others, it takes the perspective of time and distance to see a lot of things more clearly. Past relationships, called friendships then, no longer haunt me because they didn't last. I understand and appreciate the fine things I gained from just meeting so many different people. I appreciate the wisdom added to my life as a result of some bad experiences. I appreciate the laughter that's now a part of me because you helped me to see the humor in an embarrassing situation. Most of all, I appreciate the love that was called for my being in and from situations throughout my life, from all kinds of people, in all kinds of in all kinds of places. People who need people.
That's the truth. That's the truth. And thank you so much, Loretta. Okay, can Alan, do you have anything?
Yes, I do.
I let me tell you, I laughed so hard with that last one. I was on the floor.
Well,
You really bring out some funny ones.
this is for the painting Reverie by Angela Letty at the Northport Arts Centre show. It's called Pensive by a Brook. I suppose it begins somewhere in the higher land, gathers momentum down the steeper slopes, is checked by the plain's decline where it slows and snakes to find its way, eventually enters a cool place with a gentler pace. It defines its path around roots or stones, wetting green moss and algae alike, gurgling, gently tumbling on its way, turning, twisting, creating eddies and small side pools where creatures live. Small dart in shallows dash to a safer place. Tiny boatmen skate on surface film, no direction in mind, reluctant to be still. Nearby, a pinch of duckweed spins endlessly in a small whirlpool. A blue dragonfly perches, fixed, like a soul wondering which way the future lies. Sitting pensive in this aesthetic and peaceful space, I may stay for hours on the grassy bank, dissolve a list of troubles, or just dream of what happier things might be. This is my favorite place. Come with me tomorrow.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much, Alan. And Scott, before we get back to you, I want to read a short one from Dobie Pasco. He has been a member of our Writers on the Air for quite a few years, and he also does the Sunday show with Emma. All right, this is called Good Night by Leonard Dobie Pasco. I want to say good night to you each and every day, though I may not know where you are or when you will get your rest. I want to know you are blessed with peaceful, restful sleep, and that as your eyes close in blissful, comforting repose, with a smile on your face, sometimes, at least once in a while, sometimes think of me, as I always think of you, as I too fade into my own happy, peaceful sleep, so I can wake up tomorrow to write more goofy, lovesick poems. That sounds just like our Dobie. He's doing pretty good. He's doing pretty good. All right, I'm going to read one that I wrote last week, I think. This is called Time Went By. I wrote this after I visited my old hometown, or the one next to me, up in New Jersey in October. And to say the least, I was a little shocked about this one street where I used to take piano lessons. Time waits for no one, as reels of film speed up to the future of now, like in a movie projector. Past walks with youth of then, embraced the beauty of a small town, landscaped with umbrellas of maples and elms, shadowing the streets of yesteryear's memory. Directed to one small side street where music was calling to a 9-year-old me. Walking past many spacious older homes adorned with beautiful manicured landscapes and decorative ornamental iron trim. I walked up steps to the last house in all its humble splendor, greeted at the door by a gentle looking elderly woman. I knew immediately she would usher and introduce me to the wonderful world of piano, encouraging and giving me full rein to explore my passion for the classics for years to come, as I shared space with a little Victorian girl framed in gold, staring down at me over the piano. Film has a way of speeding up life's memories into spools of reels in one's mind. And now, in the autumn of life, I again heard the notes of that street calling to me to take a trip down memory lane. Disappointment and utter sadness overcame me as my eyes were greeted by the misery of this once pristine street. Humanity's pride was totally non existent. Ghosts of past, where the music is now only a fond memory, slapped me in the face upon looking at the home where I was once greeted with gentleness. The harsh reality is the dream of then is over, and ugliness of now has reared its ugly head with nightmarish atrocity. Sweet dreams of then, dear Mrs. James. She was my piano teacher. I'll keep this one here. Okay. And Scott, what do you have for us? I think we have about 8 minutes left.
Okay, well, I have a poem that I was hopefully going to read last month, but I wasn't here to do that. So it relates to autumn. Okay, this is called Half Past October. I saw summer give up. A hummingbird flew outside the window, tasting the flower's nectar one last time, and the beautiful bee that hovers no more lays deceased on the cool grass. The river is a canvas for the timbers that brave the bank, standing below the wafty cotton blanket that rest on the green mountains, daring the sun to rise to disturb the peace. The topography consists of charming villages. Dairy farms populate the outer skirts, while covered bridges sit posing for pictures. I feel the chill the others crave. Dirt roads all lead home. Old lime, stealing your moment in time, casting shadows of the colonials and the natives that carved names into the places on maps. Everywhere is a stone's throw. Walking the gardens, the trees whisper. The show will begin October. Leaves are golden then. I drink in the autumn, intoxicated, dubbed by its sweet, crisp, ample palate, a spectacle to behold, a rapture I have thoroughly memorized.
I do like your beard. That looks cute. I just put my glasses on. Lord, I like it.
My poetry's nothing. It's just my face today.
You look so cute. All right. Thank you so much, Scott. As always, your poem is unbelievable. Your poetry. Okay. This one is from Mike Neville. He is our lyricist. He writes in poetic form, and a friend of his does the music. And he's got a couple CDs out. This is called Someone to Love Again. Everybody I know knows how long it's been. I've been down and out and up again. They say you can't keep a good man down, and the Lord knows I've been around. I've taken that walk down that lonely road. There ain't no love to be had when you're alone. I've taken that walk down that lonely road, and I'm tired of carrying that heavy load. It's time for me to settle down. That won't be hard since love has been found. It's so scary how a good life feels now that I've found someone to love again. She just jumped right into my life, cut that barrier down like a knife. She stole my heart and gave me hers. We fell in love without any words. She told me her love will be good to me. She came into my life and set me free. Never does she have a bad word to say, just makes me be thankful every day. I've taken that walk down that lonely road, and I'm tired of carrying that heavy load. It's so scary how a good life feels now that I found someone to love again. Well, that was great. That was great. And like I said, he's a songwriter, and a friend of his does a lot of his work as far as putting it to music. And he has a few CDs out. All right, this is from our own Steve Lynn. I think we have a couple more minutes left. This is called My Glasses Keep on Disappearing. They go wherever I go, but then they find a convenient shelf, and they go high where I go low. They seem to have developed a mind of their own, and it's likely they're constantly searching to find an obscure place that I can't remember, and it's driving me out of my mind. My glasses think they're explorers, just like Indiana Jones. They're out on a quest to prove they're the best at hiding with buried bones. Like spiritual creatures with the ghostliest features, they get lost even more than cell phones. They're like the wanderers looking for lost civilizations and temples in the jungle mist. But whatever they see is a mystery to me, and my memory gets totally dismissed. And I'm always looking to see where they've gone. They go on and on and on. And I have to keep on playing hide and seek while they search for the ultimate beyond. My glasses play tricks on my memory with a game of who knows when, as they shatter and scatter my mind over matter with their Mad Hatter game of Zen. That was really good. That was really, really good. Okay, let me see. I have a 2-minute warning. I'm just going to read a little short one of Emma's. It's right here in front of me. The final words. The vow to myself is at hand, forced upon me by the latest rejection of my work. After the tears came relief with the knowledge I will never again be whipped by faceless judges who have so callously thrown my soul upon the heap of the disposed. I will rest my burning desire to write the words that lie unread by the eyes of those that cannot create. I now vow to keep the words of my soul silent and pray for contentment. And this was written after many, many rejections. I would really like to thank all of our guests today: Alan Hodgson, Mary Wagner, Lorette Anderson, and Scott Zirkelback. Of course, our wonderful tech behind the scenes, Marie Labras, and our wonderful co-host, and she does all our marketing for us. She really does a lot, Linda Schell. And just a reminder that we will be coming back on to Common Grounds in person, physically, at the Common Grounds Meeting Hall, right next to the what's it called?
The radio station, Warm Mineral Springs.
Warm Mineral Springs. I'll get it.
Hotel.
I'm having a brief moment. And it's been a pleasure to have all of you here. We will see you next Tuesday at the same time. I think it'll be 11 o'clock to 12. And don't forget Sundays at 3:04 p.m. This show will be on the radio, WKDW Radio, 97.5 FM. Thank you, everybody. On behalf of Linda Schell and myself, we will see you next week, and have a great